guys, welcome back to the WODdoc Project 365, episode 410. Too many knowledge bombs here with Coach Panda. Had to have him do one more with me. We were talking about reach, rotate, raise, and why it's such an overall good assessment, not only for yourself, but if you're a coach as well. So we're gonna walk through that one. Got to get a little 2-for-1 action in today. We'll release this one tomorrow, though. All right.
All right. Yeah, so the check-in recheck here is the R cube, the reach, rotate, raise, the 3 R's. I'm going to have him hit what's called a child's pose in traditional yoga. He sits back on his heels, puts his forehead on the floor, pulls his elbows back towards his hips, start with your elbows back. Yeah, and then he's going to go ahead and reach the arm forward. Right, we try to get full flexion here. Just try to straighten that elbow. This is your bad elbow?
This is my bad elbow.
This is the bad elbow. So
no, I'll do this.
That one's a better elbow. You see that nice straight elbow?
Always making fun of my handicap, bro.
We're going to rotate, get that full external rotation, and then try to raise the arm up off the floor. And we want to do this while we're kind of biasing this flex position, so you can see the people who really want to go into extension here to compensate for a tight shoulder. So one more time, we chamber the elbow back towards the hip, and we reach, we rotate, and raise. So it's R cubed, 3 R's here, all while keeping the head on the ground. And
my first instinct there is to like lift my whole body up.
Exactly, right? The instinct is that you're going to want to pull your whole body up, but we want to see what you can do just in your shoulder, right? Without defaulting to compensating in the rest of the body. This is a great archetype to look at hip and lower body mobility too. You have full flexion of the hip and knee and plantar flexion of the ankles, and you have full mobility through the shoulders while you do that. So you're going to see people compromise just getting into this position. They're also going to be compromised in their overhead squat. Right. If you can't hit that, how are you going to be in this position, right, and trying to get your arms up overhead, right? So we can kind of dry land.
If we're faulty in this position, we have to be compensating someplace else to do that, because we see people that can't do this, but yeah, they're doing overhead squats, snatches all day long, right?
Right, right. And you might miss it, like, because they'll, you know, they look okay in that overhead squat, but they're really compensating somewhere. You get them in this position, you'll see where their compensations are.
Awesome. Either hyperextended back. I see a lot of hyperextended backs, especially me. I don't have the perfect shoulder flexion, and you see it in that case. If I was to go and I was to do what I call my handicap shoulder, right? If I was to do the elbow that doesn't straighten as well, you're gonna notice that when I start to reach, like I can't get as high, right? Versus that one. So I know when I snatch, I always falter to one side. And it's because I'm always twisted to try to make up for that extension. That's my fault. I'm sure that other people have something that's very similar. Absolutely. Yeah, so if we can't get into terminal hip deflection and we can't get into terminal shoulder extension with some
shoulder flexion.
Shoulder flexion, sorry.
Yes.
Shoulder flexion with some sort of rotation aspect to it, then how do we do it when we're now adding some type of load, even if it's just a load of gravity?
Exactly, exactly. So this is a good diagnostic for us to check in with. Now, one of the key culprits, I mean, there's so much stuff going on with the shoulder. One of the little underutilized areas that I found is the scalenes. They sit on the side of your neck, they attach to your cervical, the transverse processes of your cervical vertebrae, and they're responsible for elevating that first rib and for creating lateral flexion of the neck, right? So he goes ahead and brings your ear to shoulder, shrugs the shoulder up. That's your scalene work in there, along with some of your traps as well. But it's now the other side of the scalene is why it's also an issue is because your nerves come out from your cervical spine that innervate the shoulder right there. So it's that first junction of where your nerves are starting to move into your body. So it can get really problematic when the scalenes get inflamed and tight. The nerves don't move freely through them, and then they can get impinged. You can start to feel numbness and tingling in the arms when there's problems in the scalenes. And I know I've personally on this side, because I have a bunch of injuries from jiu-jitsu, my scalenes are all jacked up, and I get numbness and tingling here when I wake up. Sometimes I slept on my pillow funny.
A lot of people are chest breathers too as well, so they become, instead of accessories, well, they should be accessory breathers, you know, like forceful respiration. But if people are overusing them, chronic breath holders and stuff like that, these will all become super hypertonic.
Yeah, clavicular breathing, breathing up here all the time. Smokers, like, get that a lot.
We love the smoking CrossFit.
Yeah, sure. So here's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use what we call the Gandalf staff, the wizard stick of mobility. I got a PVC pipe with a Super Ball goat tape to the end of it.
That's trademark.
Yeah, Gandalf stick, Panda stick.
Panda stick, that's it.
The Panda stick.
Right there. Coming to stores. March 2016.
And the other thing is, like, most of people I encounter doing mobility, they've gotten used to like the idea that, you know, oh, we're gonna jam a ball in there until it hurts, until it feels terrible, and then take the ball away, and then hopefully everything's gonna be okay.
So you're saying that it doesn't have to hurt?
It does not have to hurt, and in fact, when you're dealing with a sensitive area like the scalenes, you're pressing a lot of pressure down there is just going to light up your nerves. It's going to cause like this electrical shock down your arm, and you do not want to inflame that area, jam balls in there really hard. So we have a much more subtle technique that we use. It's from Jill Miller at Yoga Tune Up. It's called pin, spin, and mobilize. Right? This is going to allow for a lot of shear forces there. It's going to allow for a lot of perfusion, get a lot of blood flow in there, create a lot of slide and glide in those tissues without having to mash down on them. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to do it to Tim, and then I'll show you how you can do this to yourself if you have a little Panda stick here. I'm going to find a scalene. It's right behind the clavicle, right in front of the trapezius. And the scalene is an elevator and a lateral flexor. So he's going to just go ahead and bring his ear to the shoulder to shorten the tissues. So there's a little slack in them. I'm going to take the slack out by spinning the stick, like I'm chalking up a cue stick right here. And then once we've taken all the slack out, he's just going to bring his head back to neutral, or even take it over to the other side. That's where he mobilizes. So we hit it, we take this, we slacken the tissue, but I can spin the other way, spin it, and then we mobilize the neck, pulling through.
So it doesn't matter which way you twist it, clockwise, counterclockwise, doesn't matter.
Right. But we want to try to create that shear force, capture some skin there, capture the superficial fascia underneath the skin. Right, you can see the tissue, the t-shirt winding up. That's kind of a nice guideline for what the skin is doing underneath there, and then we take the neck over to the other side and clear that up.
I love that, and I love that you made the point that it doesn't have to be hard. You know, like so often we talk about, you know, like, or we think that we have to mash and smash stuff so much that you're in tears, and that really doesn't even. It doesn't apply for everything. This is actually called a pinch test, right? We use this all the time when people get knocked out or something like that. Right. We're trying to wake them up. We're trying to liven up their sympathetic nervous system. So that would also be related to fight or flight mechanisms. That's going to be tension in the body, getting it ready to run away and do whatever, or fight, right? Absolutely. So why would we want to cause so much pain in which we're stimulating sympathetic nervous tissue and causing it to be even more tense than it would be? No, we don't want to do that. We want to do parasympathetic stuff, relax, digest type of stuff.
Exactly. That clavicular breathing is also an upregulating type of breath, right? That's part of our sympathetic nervous system. When we're scared, we like hunch up, we protect ourselves in this position, right? It's that flinch response, that Tony Blauer flinch response. So we don't want to be up here, right? We want to soften and relax the stuff, create that nice down regulation. And now we just gently like take that skin, we roll it, we spin it, right? And then we mobilize, and we can clear up a lot of that tension.
Can you show me how you do it yourself?
Yeah, so you get the stick, right? You just put it in here, not too hard, right? Again, bring my ear over to my shoulder, start to turn it like I'm chalking up a cue stick, right? Once I take all the slack out, then I pull through and feel the skin pull out from under the ball.
Love it. And notice you went clockwise one way and then counterclockwise the other way. It doesn't matter which one, but it would be great to do both. Guys, all you need right here, PVC, little rubber band, super bouncy ball or something like that. They're not that expensive. I think they're 25 cents last time I checked. Something like that. And then it looks like we got some tape there. The ball gives it some of that soft end feel plus a little bit of tackiness. But hey, let's see if we can test retest, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Always test retest, right? So if we can, if we were successful and I did my right side should be a little bit improved. So if I get here, reach, rotate, stand. I would actually say that
much higher. I'd
say that is high. Coach Panda, he's amazing. Everything that he does works. Stuff like that, obviously it's great. All right, cool, guys. Until tomorrow, we're optimizing function to optimize performance.
Thank you.